Okay, I just looked in the first garage and those lights are off. I'm going to turn that back on. I'm going to turn the other one off. Chances are it's that one. Now I'm going to leave it like that. I could close the electrical panel so nobody messes with it. And another thing what I could do is, what is another safety factor, is once you determine which breaker it is, you could put a piece of electrical tape over there, a masking tape or something like that right off on it or something. So if somebody comes in and turns it on accidentally, some neighbor or your spouse or somebody saying, hey, what's going on here? The electrical panel is open. Oh, I'll just turn that on. When they turn that on, you don't know it, look out. Okay? My purpose is I'm going to just leave it closed like that. Okay, finally I found the right switch, or the right circuit breaker. It was in the actual sub panel. I had to walk around. The other two were not it. They were for, both of them were for the other garage. Okay, and I opened up a window over here. So if you're doing this yourself, make sure you get enough light in here. I could have opened up the garage door before working on this. I think I've got enough light here. The last thing you want to do is work on something that doesn't have enough light for you. Okay. So I guess that'll be good enough, huh? Okay, so I'm going to put this light switch in, and first things first, take the cover plate off. I'm just using a standard screwdriver. Most cover plates are standard screwdrivers. Now see, they had painted this before. They had the cover plate off. I just don't want to rip it off. Taking my sheetrock knife, just slightly, just ever so slightly scoring that. If that doesn't work, you can peel it back like that and then lightly score it right there. See? Okay. Be careful with your screws and stuff, because we're gonna reuse that. Now, you can undo these other screws. These are generally Phillips. Sometimes they're standard, and sometimes they don't pull out all the way, because there could be a little plastic or little cardboard washer on the back side when they installed these to keep the screws together, so don't jerk on it or anything. See? I'm going to gently pull that out. Oh, it's got a red wire in there too. I'm not sure what the deal is with that, because I did not see a three-way light switch anywhere. And you know what? This looks just standard. It looks like they've got a red wire on here, and I'm not quite sure why they did that. Maybe they didn't have I'm looking around. I want to make sure this is not a three-way light switch, and I do not think it is. I think it's just a standard, and they must have, for some reason, ran a red wire, which is power 2, and that probably goes up to the light. I looked in the hallway. I did not see a three-way light switch, so I don't think this garage is controlled by any other switches. And I'm looking around right now. It's starting to make me think, like, what the heck is happening here? Okay. I went inside, and the only place it should be is right here, but this is for the hallway. Okay. And that did not as I remember, did not turn this on. So I am making the assumption that this is a standard light switch, and I'm going to hook it up as though it's a standard light switch, and then we're going to turn it on and see what happens. Okay. Ready for our next step. Remove those wires. Now usually on three-way light switches, there's a separate wire, a screw on one side or the other. And they've got both of these pushed into the back. There's only two screws there. I'm pretty sure this is just standard. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is undo the ground screw over here. I just loosen it up, and usually you can't undo it all the way. You can feel where it kind of backs off a little bit. I just straighten that a little bit, push that out. They didn't crimp this together. Okay, so it's just got a loop in it, see? Okay. And these two, sometimes they install them around the screw here, then they crimp it and tighten those down. But on this particular one, they didn't. And I look on the back side, and there's two little slots on the back, and it takes just a small little screwdriver. I use a screwdriver for everything. How small that is. You could never get a standard screwdriver into the back of that. See the size difference? And even if you had one half the size of this, it's not as small as this one to get in there. In fact, I have another one that's about the size that they usually are, and this happened to push into here because I was tapping on it once upon a time. It's not pulling back out, so I just leave it. I don't use this very often, but see how this other one is really smaller? It's got tight edges. See? You get something like that, and then there's just a little square box generally on the back of there. I can push in on that, and I just pull the wire out. Okay. Push it in. And that one I just pull on that and it came right out, see? Okay, so that's your next step. Kaboom. Okay, so here's the light switch I just took out. Here's a new switch that I'm going to put in. Yeah, it looks pretty much the same, doesn't it? See? Except the ground screw's over there. This one happens to be at the very bottom. And I'm going to have to look at this. There's a top and bottom to this. Okay, so I look on here, and usually I'll see it somewhere up here. If I don't see it on that end, I'll look over here. Let's see there. Right there where my finger is, it says top. See? And sometimes it'll say top there, or it'll say up there with the wire with an arrow going up. I know this is facing up because when I turn it on, I want the on up here, not down here. You can't tell which way is up and which way is backwards unless you look at this side thing, and that says top. Okay, that's my first thing I need to figure out. And I think I'm just going to put the wires just in the back, and see there's a hole right up. Oh, where is it? There it is. Up there. And there's one. Well, there's one down at the bottom, I believe. I think it's right there. I'm gonna have to look at this. And there's the top one. Right up there. Okay. Then I don't have to use these side screws.